all present here. A decade of debate, dialogue, and distinction. Welcome to the 10th Subharti and Unmukt Bharat debate competition, jointly organized by Sardar Patel Subharti Institute of Law and Unmukt Bharat. I go by the name Paramjit Singh Hooda, and we are here to celebrate a legacy. We are immensely proud to share that Subharti and Unmukt Bharat debate competition completes a glorious journey of 10 remarkable years. This 10th edition is not just an event, it's a testament of our unwavering commitment to power of dialogue and democratic thinking. Let this be a platform where every argument sharpens our collective understanding and every counter argument strengthens our commitment to democracy. Before we proceed to the much awaited debate session, let us first take a moment to acquaint ourselves with the esteemed institution that nurtures this platform and the distinguished organizers whose vision and dedication have brought this prestigious event to life. Swami Vivekananda Subharti University has been established under the aegis of Mahayana, Theravada, Vajrayana, Buddhist, religious and charitable foundation, which has acquired a commendable record of service in the field of education, healthcare and social welfare. The main campus of the university is in the National Capital Region, strategically situated on the National Highway 58, Delhi Bypass Road, Meerut. The university has several constituent colleges which provide higher education in mostly all the disciplines like law, medical, dental, nursing, physiotherapy, paramedical, journalism, education, library, arts and science, Buddhist studies, etc. The university has been awarded at the Global Education Leadership Summit 2024, recognizing university's pioneering approach to education and honored at the 29th World AIDS Education Summit Delhi 2024 for exceptional career services. Also awarded Top University of India award conferred by CSR Group, acknowledging outstanding contribution of Subharti to higher education. These allocates underscore the dedication of university to fostering academic excellence. Sardar Patel Subharti Institute of Law is among one of the top colleges of law in state of Uttar Pradesh. Subharti Law College was started in the year 2002. The college was established in the pious memory of Sardar Patel, first Home Minister, first Deputy Prime Minister, an eminent lawyer, and the Iron Man of India. It was ranked 7th in top eminent law colleges by Competition Success Review in June 2024. Received Best Academic Curriculum Award supported by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Was also awarded first rank in category of excellence and fourth rank in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Unmukt Bharat is a non-political organization aiming for an ideal nation. It's an association of nationalists and individuals who realize their duties and are inclined to work for the betterment of the nation. Unite those who are vigilant towards their responsibilities, towards the society and beloved Mother India. The mission of Unmukt Bharat is as follows: to enable people to take responsibility for the nation building and so motivate them to seek resolution through individual and collective action, thereby enabling them to realize their full potential, to make people discover their potential for action and change, to enable people's collective and movement encompassing diverse segments to pledge their particular strengths, working in partnership to secure, protect, and honor their human rights and fundamental rights as provided by the Constitution of India. Though the entire schedule has been sent on concerned WhatsApp group, still I request the participants to take a look at schedule again. Now it's my privilege to introduce the esteemed panel of judges for today's debate. Each of them brings with them a wealth of knowledge, expertise, and experience in their respective fields. Allow me to introduce the first judge of the competition, Dr. Seema Sharma, an accomplished academician and a dedicated associate professor and head of Department of Languages at Swami Vivekananda Subharti University, Meerut. Dr. Sharma's relentless pursuit of excellence and her exceptional contributions to the realm of academia and literature have earned her the prestigious Guru Ratna Award 2023 from the esteemed Brij of Sahitya Kala Sanskrit Academy, Agra, Uttar Pradesh. This well-deserved allocate stands as a testament to Dr. Sharma's unwavering commitment to her field and her unwavering dedication to the study and promotion of Hindi language and literature. Moving on with the second judge of the competition, Ms. Shivani, an esteemed faculty member at Sardar Patel Subharti Institute of Law, embodies the spirit of academic excellence and mentorship. With a profound knowledge of law and deep commitment to nurturing young minds, she has become an inspiring figure within the institution. Her teaching style, marked by clarity, insight, and compassion, not only imparts knowledge but also instills a love for learning and critical thinking among her students. Through her dedication and scholarly approach, Shivani ma'am contributes significantly to vibrant academic community at Sardar Patel Subharti Institute of Law. Before we request Dr. Vaibhav Goyal Bhartiya, Dean, Sardar Patel Subharti Institute of Law, for his address, it is fitting to acquaint ourselves with his achievements. Sir is Professor and Dean Faculty of Law, Subharti University. He has worked with various national and international institutes, reputed in India and abroad. Sir is associated with various government organizations in different capacities. He has also been a former professor at Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Government of India, Missouri. Dr. Vaibhav has assisted Ministry of Health Ethiopia for developing drug regulatory mechanism for the country. Sir is a human rights activist, academician, and a senior administrator. Sir, please take.
Thank you, Paramjit. At the outset, I am thankful for the Moot Court Association and Literary Club of Sardar Patel Subharti Institute of Law, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, for taking this initiative to conduct this national debate competition. Actually, we are organizing this debate competition since long. Earlier, it was through offline mode, but COVID compelled us to come via online mode. And as per the discussion with the organizers or the conveners of the committee, they are planning that from next year, we will again switch over to the offline mode. Usually, in last, debate competitions, we have participants from different states, and this time we are having participants from 10 states, including Karnataka, Rajasthan, Jammu Kashmir, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Delhi, and Uttar Pradesh. In fact, when we are talking about the participants and we are talking about the topic, the one nation, one election, it seems that the topic is suitable for the law students and for other citizens of the country so that they can understand and they can focus on the idea whether the idea of one nation, one election can remove the political problems in our system. If I will talk much about the topic, it will not be justifiable in light of the coming justice of this debate competition. I will not throw light on the topic, but I can simply say that today we will observe the intellect and the research which has been done by the students or the participants at the time of preparation of their debate content, what they will deliberate. We will definitely will enrich ourselves with their content, and we will try to publish their content on social media platforms so that the contents may be useful for the society and it may serve the nation. Because when we are talking about any issue which is of the national importance, then this way or that way, that issue or deliberations on that issue helps a lot in various manners. So I wish all the best to all the participants, and I wish all the best to the organizers too. Thank you very much, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Before inviting Major General Dr. G.K. Thaplial, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, to officially inaugurate the 10th Subharti and Unmukt Bharat Debate Competition 2025, it is both appropriate and an honor to first acknowledge his remarkable achievements. Major General Dr. G.K. Taplial has over 40 years of experience in the armed forces and higher education, has been conferred with various prestigious awards such as the Sena Medal by the President of India, Commendation Award by GOCINC, Southern and Western Command, Lifetime Achievement Award by the Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons of India. He has been the head of maxillofacial team at UN Peacekeeping Mission Hospital in Cambodia, head of biomedical research team at Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Elite Science, Delhi, professor and head of maxillofacial wing at Armed Forces Medical College, Pune. I now extend most respectful invitation to Vice Chancellor Sir to guide us with his eloquence and depth of experience.
ये वही कर रहे हैं
Audible and visible.
Hello, Jai Hind. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible and visible.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me to this inaugural session. Professor, who all are joining this inaugural session? Can you tell me who all are there in this inaugural session?
Sir, we have Dean Sir and the judges and a few participants.
There are, is the Pro Vice Chancellor joining?
Sir, he won't be joining us.
Achha, he is not joining. And from the faculty side, who all are there?
Sir, Professor Vaibhav Goel Bharti and judges.
Okay. Professor Vaibhav and other faculty members of the Faculty of Law?
No, sir, they won't be joining.
And how many participants are there?
40 participants are there, sir.
45 participants.
40.
40. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Actually, I did not know this information. So just to begin with, I wanted the information available with me.
Yes, sir.
Jai Hind, everybody. Professor Vaibhav Goel Bharti, Dean Faculty of Law, other faculty members, and my dear participants. I welcome you to this debate competitions, which is being organized by the Faculty of Law. So therefore, at the outset, I congratulate and I thank the Faculty of Law for having conceived the idea of having debate for students across the country on a very, very important topic, that is one nation, one election. And the kind of a response you have received, that is amazing. And that shows that interest of the student in the debate and in the issue before the country are available. And they are actively participating in such kind of a debates. That is, I want to congratulate them and I want to thank all of them. Debate is one area that, or a kind of a training which helps in improving the critical thinking and also helps in building the arguments. And building the argument is very, very important for the graduates of the law. And how you build the argument, that is a sequence, how you establish means, and that comes through the analytical approach of the situation. I'm not speaking about the subject because the subject students are debating in favor or against. And that will be judged by the judges. I'm sure there are the judges in the debate. And tomorrow there is going to be the final outcome. The result will be announced. and we'll meet again at the time of final decision and given. Now I welcome all the participants and wish them good luck and all the best. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Before calling on the participants of session 1, let's go through the rules real quick. For technical convenience, teams have been divided into sessions. Participants should not note down their session timing and join on time and not before their respective session begins. Any failure to join the session would lead to disqualification of the participant. All the participants should only use the assigned team code while joining the speaker link. For example, if Vishal Singh has been assigned the team code F1, then the display name for Vishal Singh while entering the live session should be as F1. A speaker can speak either in English or in Hindi. No mixed languages allowed. Each speaker would be given 3.5 minutes to speak. If a speaker crosses the limit of 3.5 minutes, she may lose marks. Assistance from written manuscript may lead to adverse marking. While presentation, if participant is disconnected due to network glitch, then only 15 to 30 seconds shall be provided for reconnecting. After that, the decision of the judges shall be final in this regard. In case of issue or dispute, decision of the debate organizing committee shall be final. Decision of the judges would be final and cannot be challenged. All the participants are required to wear formals during virtual presentation. Students are expected not to reveal their identity during the presentation. The following category of certificates shall be given. First, Best Speaker Certificate. Second, Best Speaker Certificate. Third, Best Speaker Certificate. Best Team Certificate. And Certificate of Participation will be given to all the participating teams. Today is not about competing, but about celebrating your courage for participating in this competition. I request all the participants to call your friends, your family members, your biggest supporters. Call your best friend and ask them to join live and cheer for you. Ask them to watch you live and flood the comment section with messages of pride and support. You don't know whether you will win or not, but you and your friends can ensure one thing, that during the 10th Subharti debate, the comment section was flooded with messages during your presentation. We are looking forward to who gets the most comments. We proceed to the first session of the debate, where the art of persuasion shall meet the rigor of reason. Let us witness the power of words unfold. Now, I request F1 to present his arguments.
Where musicians tune their instruments at different times, disrupting harmony and leaving the audience restless. This is a fitting metaphor for India's current.
Restart again. I request F1 to restart again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible. You're good to go.
Esteemed judges and fellow debaters, imagine a concert where musicians tune their instruments at different times, disrupting harmony and leaving the audience restless. This is a fitting metaphor for India's current electoral system, which is fragmented, costly, and hindering our nation's progress. Today, I advocate for one nation, one election, not just as a policy change, but as a necessary step to harmonize governance and optimize resource and empower our people. From 1951 to 1967, India held simultaneous elections for the Lok Sabha and state assemblies, creating political stability and administrative coherence. This was a proven model and not just a historical phase. However, premature dissolution in the late 1960s fractured this rhythm. Since then, elections have been staggered, becoming continuous campaigning and overshadowing governance. The consequences are staggering. The 24 Lok Sabha elections alone cost an estimated 1.35 lakh crore making them the most expensive electoral event in the world, surpassing the 2020 US election, which cost around 1.2 lakh crores. This colossal expenditure overshadows the critical sectors like health, education, and infrastructure. To put this in perspective, the Election Commission spent about 6,300 crores daily, which is more than India's daily education budget. The cost per vote has soared to 1,400 rupees, which is 23 times more than that of rupees 16 in 2014. Moreover, the Model Code of Conduct, while essential, freezes governance for extended period. It was 68 days in 2024 alone, stalling vital projects worth rupees 13 lakh crore and delaying project decisions. This constant electoral cycle drains administrative focus and public funds, impeding India's growth. But this challenge is also an opportunity. The high-level committee led by former President Ram Nath Kovind highlights that synchronized elections could boost GDP by 1.5% and reduce inflation by 1% and free up thousands of personnel that are currently engaged in election duties. These are not mere statistics, but the foundation for a stronger and more prosperous India. Critics fear that federalism will suffer, that voices will be lost. However, countries like Germany conduct synchronized elections at a fraction of India's cost, while South Africa boasts higher voter turnout. Their experiences show that voters can differentiate national and local issues, and they do not compromise democracy. The way forward is clear: a phased approach starting with synchronization of Lok Sabha and state elections, followed by the local bodies. Constitutional amendments will be needed, but these are manageable steps towards a more efficient democracy. As we approach 2047, a centenary of our independence, we must choose: either continue with fragmented elections that drain resources, or embrace one nation, one election, a unifying reform that will accelerate India's growth and development. Let us choose progress, unity, and efficiency. Jai Hind.
Now, I request A16 to present the arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, may I start?
Yes.
ना समय बचेगा ना आवाज बचेगी, जब हर चुनाव एक हो तो किसकी बात बचेगी, ना मुद्दे होंगे ना दर्द दिखेगा, बस नारों का शोर होगा और जनता खामोश होगी. We live in a diverse land, ladies and gentlemen, where every region has its own unique identity. From the snowy peaks of Kashmir to the sun-kissed shores of Kerala, from the busy streets of Punjab to the peaceful villages of Kerala, each corner of this vast nation has its own sets of needs, aspirations, and challenges. Now imagine if these distinct voices, these different stories were forced to speak at the same time, under the same banner, with the same words. Could you hear their individuality? Could you hear their pain, their needs, their aspirations? The answer will definitely be a big no. This is the very issue with the proposal of one nation, one election. Greetings everyone. I am a second year law student at the Law School University of Jammu, and it is a great feeling telling all of you that we are living in a federal country, and I hope not only the word stays, but its true essence also. And I speak against the motion that one nation, one election is not the solution to the India's electoral challenges. Let us not fooled by slogans. Let us not seduced by simplifications. The government argued that this will reduce expenditure. But friends, what is a democracy if not the right to participate, even at the cost of money? Do we shut down parliament because it costs too much to run? Do we cancel freedom of expression because it is inconvenient? If spending money on elections is the price we pay for this vibrant democracy, then it is a price worth paying. If spending money on election is the price we pay for this vibrant democracy, then we are saying we are living in a democratic country, we are living in a free India. They argue that this will improve governance. But here is a bitter truth. Governance in India suffers not because of the frequent election, but because of the incompetency and because of the bureaucratic system and because of the corrupted system. If governance were a priority, Parliament would be discussing job. It would be discussing inflation. It would be discussing education. It would be discussing healthcare. It would be discussing environment, rather than spending time fighting and abusing each other. My simple question is that who benefits from the simultaneous election? Not the voter, not the regional leader. It benefits the party with the biggest propaganda machine, the party with the deepest corrupted pockets, and we all know who the party is. Government wants one nation, one election. But we must ask, what comes next? One party, one leader, one election, one food, one god, or one narrative? We say no. We say India is too big, too diverse, too complex to be ruled by only one idea. Recently, we all mourned the Pahalgam attack, which killed around 28 civilians. Government misled people by spreading fake propaganda that after the abrogation of Article 370, Kashmir is safe. They are doing the same with the proposal of one nation, one election. Firstly, unite India as a one nation. Solve the conflicts in Kashmir. Solve the conflicts in Manipur. Solve the regional problems. Then only we can say India as a one nation. Let us defend our democracy not by weakening it in the name of convenience, but by empowering it in the name of constitution. I conclude by just saying that कलमों में ताकत है, नजर में उड़ान है. कलमों में ताकत है, नजर में उड़ान है. ये नई नस्ल है, इनकी सोच जवान है. जो छुपाया गया वो साफ दिखेगा. सवालों का दौर है, जवाब लिखेगा. I rest my speech. Thank you. जय हिंद, जय भारत.
Thank you so much. I now request F2 to present his arguments.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Okay. Good morning to the Honorable Chair and my fellow speaker. Political scientist D.Y. Qureshi observes that democracy doesn't mean perpetual electioneering. It means responsible governance. Today, I rise to advocate for the concept of one nation, one election, not as mere convenience, but as a constitutional necessity. Let us remember that simultaneous elections are not new to India. From 1952 to 1967, we have successfully conducted Lok Sabha and state elections together. It was the political instability in late 1960s that broke the cycle. The Law Commission of India in its 170th report and 255th report and the Ramnath Kovind Committee, the former president chaired high-level commission, advocated for its restoration. The opposition to this idea is rooted in speculation and misunderstanding. People may debate that this is going to drain money, why are we not spending enough of money for governance, etc. It will neither increase the use of president's rule nor threaten decentralization or federalism. It is pertinent to note that the proposed changes under the 129th Amendment Bill 2024 does not harm the tenure of the representatives or empower the president. As clarified by the Ramnath Kovind Committee report, if a government falls midway, fresh elections will be held for the remaining term, respecting people's choice and their representation. Far from weakening decentralization, this respects autonomy of the states by giving them full mandate. It will promote cooperative federalism as envisioned by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and focuses on governance. One nation, one election is an economically viable solution which will ensure stability at all levels, enhance voter convenience, and strengthen democracy. The financial burden of constant election is colossal. In 2024 alone, a political spending of 1.35 crores was spent on recurring elections. According to the Election Commission, a single synchronized election in 2029 would cost around 8,000 crore, a fraction compared to the recurring and scattered polls. This election model is not just cheaper, but also is a wiser decision to make. It means public fundings are now spent on hospitals, schools, infrastructures, and not on endless political campaigning. It is also estimated, given the present situation of India, one nation, one election can boost the GDP by 1.5%. This idea will save resources and also will not freeze the project under the Model Code of Conduct. Political scientists often speak about cocktail effect. Countries like Germany, Sweden, South Africa are examples that show unified election creates better informed and more decisive voters. Even in the recent election of Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, this reflects the political maturity of India and says that Indian people are capable of distinguishing between the state and central elections. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that India is a progressive democracy, a democracy and a progress that demands bold reforms. We cannot keep patching a broken system with ad hoc fixes. It is time to rebuild. It is not about centralization, it is about synchronization. It is not about domination, it is about deepening democracy. For a stronger, more stable, and a truly people driven India, I strongly support one nation, one election. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I request A4 to please present their arguments.
I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Democracy thrives where elections ring, not by chanting every vote to a single spring. One nation. Greetings, everyone. Today, I rise to strongly oppose the motion that one nation, one election is the solution to India's electoral challenges. At first glance, synchronized elections may seem very attractive and like a solution, but when we look closer, it becomes clear that this proposal is neither practical nor in the true spirit of our constitution. India is a union of states, each with its own political needs, political issues, and political culture. Ensuring enforcing Ensuring and enforcing simultaneous elections would severely damage our federal structure. What happens when a government fails in the midterm, as we saw in the case of Karnataka in 2019 or Madhya Pradesh in 2020? Will there be president rule imposed for years? Will there be no fresh elections for next few years? Such situations can really weaken the democracy. Moreover, the logistical challenges are massive. Even today, India struggles to mobilize election staff and security forces and over 1.7 million voting machines during the elections. Holding elections at once would triple these demands, leading to chaos, technical pressure, technical failures, and a serious threat to the free and fair elections. It is also important to remember that elections are not just a burden, they are the heartbeat of our democracy. Frequent elections keep leaders connected to their people. If elections happens only once in every 5 years, governments will lose the pressure to perform throughout their term. Democracy is not just about voting once. It is like a constant dialogue between the people and the ones who are governing those people, the ones who are in power. Furthermore, synchronized elections would push local issues to the background. National narratives would dominate the discourse, drowning out concerns about local development. In states where the local governance matters most, this would be a serious blow to the democracy's grassroots strength. And let us not be fooled by the saving money argument. Election costs a fraction of India's GDP. And, my dear friends, democracy is not an expense. It is more like an investment, one that guarantees stability, one that guarantees peace, and people's participation in the governance in our country. While the idea may sound very appealing on the paper, in reality, it undermines federalism and silences the local voices. True reform lies in strengthening election management and deepening that transparency that we need, not by forcing the uniformity on a beautifully diverse democracy like India. Thus, I firmly reject the motion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I request F3 to present their arguments.
कल्पना कीजिए एक किसान हर साल चुनाव के कारण अपनी फसल की कटाई को टालता है। एक छोटा व्यापारी हर कुछ महीनों में चुनाव के कारण अपनी दुकान बंद करता है। एक विद्यार्थी बार बार चुनाव के कारण अपनी परीक्षा की तैयारी में बाधा महसूस करता है। इस बार बार होने वाले चुनाव न केवल समय और धन की बर्बादी है, बल्कि हमारे जीवन को भी अस्त व्यस्त करते हैं। सभा की उपस्थिति को मेरा नमन। आज मैं अपने विचार एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव के पक्ष में लेकर उपस्थित हूँ। महोदय, मेरे विपक्षी कहेंगे कि यह लोकतंत्र के खिलाफ है, लेकिन वह यह भूल जाते हैं कि एक मजबूत केंद्र और मजबूत राज्य मिलकर के ही एक मजबूत राष्ट्र का निर्माण करता है। उन्हें बार बार चुनाव के लिए नए मुद्दे और वादे चाहिए। देश के विकास से उन्हें कोई मतलब नहीं। महोदय, भारत में चुनाव एक महंगा मामला है। एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव लागू होने से अनावश्यक खर्च को रोका जा सकेगा और उस धन का उपयोग विकास कार्यों में किया जा सकेगा। एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव राजनीतिक दलों को अपनी नीतियों और कार्यों पर अधिक गंभीरता से विचार करने पर मजबूर करेगा। इससे राजनीतिक विमर्श की गुणवत्ता में सुधार होगा। बार बार चुनाव होने के कारण भारत की छवि एक ऐसे देश की छवि की तरह हो गई है जो हर वक्त चुनावी मोड़ पर खड़ा रहता है। एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव से भारत की स्थिति अंतरराष्ट्रीय संबंधों को सुधार करेगा। महोदय, अंत में अपनी वाणी को विराम देते हुए मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी, एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव मात्र एक सुधार ही नहीं बल्कि एक क्रांतिकारी कदम है। एक क्रांतिकारी कदम है। यह न केवल बचत है बल्कि शासन, प्रशासन और राजनीतिक स्थिरता को भी मजबूत करेगा। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much. Now I request A10 to present the arguments. A10, you're not audible. You're not audible. You're not audible. Hello, you're still not audible. No, you're still not audible. Turn on your microphone. Try turning on your microphone. I request the judges to please give some time to A10 to make some changes in the system. Meanwhile, we'll proceed with F4. We'll be coming back to A10 shortly.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Thank you. So let me begin my speech by explaining what one nation, one vote really means. It is a proposal that instead of having elections at different times, sometimes almost every year, we bring them all together and vote on the same day for both the national parliament and all state assemblies. India actually followed this system from the very first election in 1952 until 1967, and it brought tremendous administrative efficiency and a sense of unity. My very first reason for supporting this idea is simple: money and resources. Right now, India spends billions of rupees every few years on organizing separate elections. For example, the 2019 general election nearly cost over 60,000 crores. That's a massive sum, which could transform education, healthcare, or even help the poor if saved. As former President Ramnath Kovind said, the funds saved by holding simultaneous elections could be used for development and therefore was in national interest. If we vote just once in 5 years, we avoid repeating the same costly and exhausting processes, directing our precious resources into building the nation. Secondly, with simultaneous elections, government will get more time to focus on development instead of being distracted by frequent polls. This means our leaders can work better for the people. My third point is about the people. When voters are called repeatedly to the polling booth, participation drops and many feel tired of voting. But with one nation, one vote, all citizens come together for one big, meaningful election. This boosts excitement and motivation, and research shows turnout increases when polls are held together. Senior journalist Vijay emphasized if the elections are held simultaneously across the country, it will save the resources considerably and make the process convenient for the voters too. This idea also brings the nation together. When we vote on one day believing in one person, one value, it reinforces democracy and equality. Every citizen's voice matters equally. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said from the Red Fort, the nation has to come forward for one nation, one election to realize the vision of a united and stronger India. Some argue that combining election may obscure local issues or upset federal balance, but experience shows India voters are voice. They know the difference between state and national issues and vote accordingly, as seen in many past instances. Moreover, with careful reforms and clear communication, regional voices will still be heard. In conclusion, one nation, one vote is not just an administrative reform, it is a vision to save resources, bring stability in government, enhance people engagement, and strengthen our democracy for a brighter future. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, politics shouldn't be done for all 5 years. Elections should be held only for 3 or 4 months so the country can move forward for the rest of the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request 8 and 2 kindly rejoin. I will be coming to it shortly. Now I request F5 to present the arguments.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible and visible.
Respected dignitaries and my fellow mates, I'm here to speak against the motion, one nation, in favor of the motion, one nation, one election. A house divided against itself cannot stand. This is a quote by Abraham Lincoln. These words resonate deeply with the soul of a nation, India, which is vast, diverse, and full of dreams. A nation, just like a home, must be unified in its efforts, its vision, and its actions if it has to stand strong. Today, as we envision the future of India, a stronger, a more efficient democracy, we must ask ourselves, should our electoral processes divide us endlessly or should it unite us towards a common purpose? And thus emerges the idea of one nation, one election, a vision where democracy does not disrupt governance but strengthens it. Ladies and gentlemen, this idea is not new for India. From 1952 to 1967, India successfully conducted simultaneous elections for both the parliament and the state assemblies. For nearly 2 decades after independence, our democracy functioned with this model, ensuring smooth governance and political stability. It was only after 1968 and 1969, due to political instability and premature dissolutions of assemblies and the Lok Sabha, that the cycle of frequent scattered elections began. Thus, one nation, one election is not a foreign concept, it is a return to a system that once worked for India. Now, here's why this move is not just important but also essential for India we dream of. First, it would strengthen the governance and stability. Today, our leaders are trapped in a cycle of continuous elections. One synchronized election will allow the governments to fully focus on development for 5 years instead of being in campaign mode constantly. Secondly, it would massively reduce the public expenditure. The Election Commission reported that in 2019, the Lok Sabha elections alone costed around rupees 60,000 crore. According to some estimates, also, the 1952 general election, which were held simultaneously, costed only rupees 10.45 crore in total. This shows how dramatically cost has spiked over time due to fragmented elections. Imagine the money we could have saved having a single electoral exercise. That money could build the schools, hospitals, and roads for nation building rather than vote chasing. Thirdly, it would curb the divisive politics. Frequent elections often inflame the caste, religious, and regional division. A consolidated election would limit these disruptions, ensuring that the elections focus on real issues, not the identity politics. For a single planned election would optimize their use and allow them to serve in their primary roles and efficiently. Of course, reforms will be required, such as constitutional amendments, adjustment to the assembly terms. But for a country like India, bold decisions have always built the history. In fact, the Law Commission of India and the Niti Aayog both have strongly recommended a gradual transition towards one nation, one election after careful planning. Sorry. In conclusion, the India of tomorrow needs unity in purpose and efficiency in action. One nation, one election is a bold step towards that unity. An India where governance is uninterrupted, resources are safe, and democracy is celebrated with dignity. Let us not be a house divided. Let us be a nation united, which is strong, stable, and soaring. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request everyone to present the arguments.
Good morning to our estimate panel, respected leaders and valued participants. One nation, one election is often presented as a solution to India's electoral challenges, but it is far from the panacea. Instead, it poses a serious threat to a very foundation of a democracy. While the idea of synchronized election may seem efficient on the surface, it is dangerous oversimplify the complex reality of India's federal structure, diverse electorates, and vibrant political plurality. At the core of Indian democracy lies federalism, the constitutional guarantee that the state have the autonomy to govern according to their unique social, cultural, and economic context. Mandating the simultaneous election risks subordinate these local realities to the national narratives. This shift would marginalize regional voices and the concern that are crucial in a country as diverse as ours. The political discourse would become more centralized, and local issue could be drawn out of the national campaign, weakening the very essence of the federal democracy. Moreover, one nation, one election disproportionate favors national parties. In a synchronized election cycle, national parties with the greater resources and media reach would dominate electoral landscape, sidelining regional parties that focuses on the state-specific issues. This would reduce political diversity and undermine the plurality nature of Indian democracy, which thrives on multiple viewpoints representing India's vast diversity. Practically challenges further complicate this proposal. India's parliamentary system allow for the government to fall prematurely due to political instability or loss of the majority. Midterm elections are the constitutional necessity in such cases, forcing all state and the central government to align the election cycle would require frequent constitutional amendment and could lead to undemocratic extension or curtailment of the government terms. This risk violates the principle of fixed tenure and could alter the basic structure of the constitution, which courts have constantly protected. The economic argument for one nation, one election is also overstated. While election expenses are high, the actual cost saving per voter would be minimal, estimated at just around rupees 5 annually. Frequently, elections are stimulating local economics by generating employment and business opportunities. More importantly, regular elections keep government accountable and responsive to the people's need. Finally, frequent elections serve as the vital democratic check on power. Let's see the 2024 election, where the total estimate cost for the Lok Sabha election was 13 lakhs crore, whereas the state election crores around 1,000 crores. In total, it is a huge amount. So, like if we are taking a financial condition, If we are having a simultaneous election, it would lead to a great change in the nation. They provide citizens with the regular opportunity to express their approval or dissent, ensure that the government remain answerable throughout their tenure. Synchronized election risks dulling the accountability mechanism, reducing citizens to the people's needs. In the conclusion, while one nation, one election promises administrative efficiency, it risks imposing uniformity on the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I request A10 to present the arguments.
So,
Yeah, you are audible and visible.
good, good morning. The idea of one nation, one election means holding national and state election together. At first, it sounds good. It can save time and money. But when we look deeper, it goes against India's federal structure and diversity. I strongly oppose this idea and I will explain why. India's constitution is based on federalism. It gives state the power to manage important matters like education, farming, health, and local development. Our country is not the same everywhere. Every region has its own language, culture, problems, and needs. If we align all elections together, national issues like defense and foreign policy will dominate the discussion. Local issues like water supply, farming support, and local schools will be ignored. Political leaders and smaller parties, which represent the real voice of regions, will be sidelined. This will lead to the dominance of national parties and weaken the voice of the state. In a country as diverse as India, this is very risky. For example, other democracies like the USA, the president is elected every 4 years. Congress and governor are selected separately on different dates. This keeps federalism alive, where national and state issues are discussed separately. Similarly, in South Africa, national and provincial elections are held together, but local elections happen separately to give focus to local problems. For example, these examples shows that synchronizing elections have limits and staggering election is important to maintain balance. India tried simultaneously election between 1951 and 1967. It failed because of political instability. Government kept falling and separate elections became necessary. Today, if a state government falls early, what will we do? Either leave people without a government until the next common election, or break the idea of simultaneous election. Making one nation, one election happen needs big constitutional change. Article 83, 85, 172, 174, and 356 would need amendments. Also, more than half of India's state must approve these changes, which is very difficult in our divided politics. The legal experts, like former Chief Justice UU Lalit, say it would harm the basic structure of the Constitution. It would also cause huge logistical challenges, moving millions of EVMs across the country at once, arranging enough security forces in every corner of India, managing the huge task could mistakes, delays, or even denial of voting rights. The bigger risk for one nation, one election. One nation, one election can centralize power in the hands of a few. It could silence regional parties and leaders who raise real ground level problems. It will weaken the system where each region is free to elect its leader based on local needs and timing. It will damage the spirit of India's democracy. India's strength lies in federalism, its diversity, and its strong state level democracy. One nation, one election may offer some benefits like saving money and time, but it will cost us something much more important, the voice and identity of our state. Separate election allow local issues to shine and leader to be accountable. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I request F6 to present the arguments.
A nation's strength lies not in the noise of repeated battles, but in the unity of its collective voice. Honorable judges, respected teachers, my worthy opponents, and the attentive audience, today I stand before you to advocate in favor of one nation, one election, not merely as a political innovation, but as a constitutional imperative for stronger governance. Also known as simultaneous elections, One Nation, One Election Bill aims to hold all the elections, including that of Lok Sabha, state assemblies, and the local body elections all at once. It is interesting to note that the concept of this concept has already been practiced in the earlier post adoption of the constitution from 1951 till 1967 when the cycle of synchronized elections got disrupted. One nation, one election do not mean that voting across the country needs to happen on a single day. However, voters of a specific constituency will be able to cast their votes for both the Lok Sabha and state elections on the same day. Various reports like the Election Commission in its annual report 1983, the Law Commission 170th report 1999, the 79th report of the Parliamentary Standing Committee 2015, the Niti Aayog discussion paper 2017 and the high level committee led by former President Mr. Ramnath Kovind had been timely recommending the adoption of simultaneous elections in India for varied reasons. First being frequent elections disrupt governance. Governments are often caught up in election mode, focused on winning votes rather than implementing long-term policies. Political parties even put the essential schemes on stake in order to gain votes in one or another upcoming elections. Secondly, the model code of conduct kicks in, freezing government decisions every time elections are announced. This disrupts government projects, leading to policy paralysis. The halt sometimes extend not just to days but to months. Thirdly, concerns about federalism are entirely misplaced in this context. Indian federalism, as affirmed by S.R. Bomai versus Union of India case, is not about cooperation, is about cooperation, not division. Furthermore, elections are incredibly expensive and drain valuable resources. According to Election Commission of India, frequent elections overburden both financial and human resources, like including all the government officials, security agencies, and educational institutions, taking their focus away from essential public services. By reducing election related costs, we can free up resources to improve governance. One nation, one election accountability increases voters' turnout as people are more likely to indulge in election as scheduled at once instead of being overwhelmed by continuous campaigning. Finally, this reform will restore the spirit of democracy, focusing on serving the people instead of endless campaigning. We can move beyond the deep-rooted social divisions like caste and community, which often fuel vote bank politics. To put it briefly, one nation, one election upholds the constitutional promise of accountability, feasibility, and federalism and moves India closer to a stable, efficient government. It's an idea whose time has come, whose necessity is undeniable, and whose impact will echo across generations. Having presented my arguments, I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now I request A3 to present the arguments.
मैं उस देश की नागरिक हूं जहां अधिकारों की मांग हमें सड़कों तक ले आती है तो कर्तव्यों की बात आते ही शांति छा जाती है। मैं उस देश की नागरिक हूं जहां जनता ने अपने मतानुसार एक लोकतंत्र चुना था और आज वही जनता मतदान तक को सकुचाती है। मैं उस देश की नागरिक हूं जहां की जनता और सत्ता लोगों में, लोगों द्वारा, लोगों के लिए बनाई गई और आज वही सत्ता एक चुनाव के लिए लोगों के आगे गिड़गिड़ाती है। सभी को मेरा नमन। आज मैं इस छोर से एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव के विपक्ष में ही नहीं अपितु राष्ट्र हित के पक्ष में भी अपने विचार लेकर उपस्थित हूँ। महोदय, इससे पहले मैं अपने विषय की जिरह प्रारंभ करूं, ये जानना आवश्यक है कि एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव का अर्थ क्या है। एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव का सीधा और स्पष्ट अर्थ है कि पूरे देश में यानी लोकसभा, केंद्र सरकार के चुनाव और विधानसभा के चुनाव एक साथ एक समय पर कराए जाएंगे, जो कि आज के समय में अलग अलग समय पर कराए जाते हैं। महोदय, बताना चाहूंगी कि एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव कोई तुगलकी फरमान नहीं है जिसे रातों रात लाक्षागृह की भांति जारी कर दिया गया हो। महोदय, ये प्रश्न है और ये उत्तर है अपने आप में कि ये भारत सरकार के लिए और भारत के लोकतंत्र के लिए एक खतरा है। महोदय, बताना चाहूंगी कि न जाने कितनी बार इस प्रस्ताव को संसदों में, न्यायालयों में और संविधान बैठकों में नकारा गया। इसमें कुछ ना कुछ खोट तो अवश्य है। महोदय, वास्तविकता ये है कि 1951 से 1967 तक भी ये कमी थी और आज भी ये कमी है कि यदि राज्य में राजनीतिक अस्थिरता के कारण उसकी सरकार भंग हो जाती है तो पूरे देश को पुनः चुनावों के लिए तैयार होना पड़ेगा, जो कि एक कठिन कार्य है। महोदय, ये प्रस्ताव बिल्कुल वैसा है जैसा पंडित जी कथा के अंत में कहते हैं कि धर्म की जीत, अधर्म का नाश और सद्भावना और विश्व का कल्याण होगा। महोदय, होता था कुछ नहीं, परंतु लोग प्रसाद लेकर अवश्य निकल लेते हैं। इसी प्रकार देश की जनता को आनंद फानंद का प्रसाद दिया जा रहा है, जबकि एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव देश के लिए एक खतरा है। महोदय, बार बार चुनाव होने के बावजूद नेता हमें कम से कम दिखाई देते हैं। यदि एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव 5 साल में एक बार होने लगे तो नेता तो लुप्त हो जाएंगे। महोदय, जिस प्रकार बिना रंगों के इंद्रधनुष नहीं हो सकता, उसी प्रकार भारत विभिन्न राज्यों और विभिन्नताओं के बिना नहीं हो सकता। समय की बेड़ियों को ध्यान रखते हुए महोदय बस इतना कहना चाहूंगी कि एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव देखने में तो आवश्यक लगता है और आकर्षक लगता है, परंतु यह हमारे देश के लिए एक खतरा है। महोदय, अंत में अपनी वाणी को विराम देते हुए बस यही कहना चाहूंगी कि हमें इस पर विचार करना होगा। कहीं हम अंत में ये कहते ना रह जाएं कि जिंदगी भर गालिब ये भूल करता रहा, जिंदगी भर गालिब ये भूल करता रहा, धूल आंखों में थी और वो आईना साफ करता रहा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much. I request F7 to present the arguments.
Good morning, everyone. I am F7, and we are presenting the One Nation and One Election.
Hello, you are visible, but please speak a bit louder.
Can I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible now.
Okay. There is a topic: One Nation and One Election. What means the One
Please
Nation
speak
and One?
loudly. Please speak loudly.
This
Yeah.
means the One Nation and One Election. One Nation. There is a very big question that can we are in one nation and there is all elections could be in one time. One nation, one election means not in one all elections is conducting in one day, but it means all election in particular time session, like in India, and there is a every time like every year's elections are conducting. This is a very costly. In after the Independence Day, the India is all elections is conducting in 1 year, like 1952, 1957, 1662, and 1667. After that, the emergency, there is a many disturb conducting on elections, and for that election are now is many times in years. Here is many states that's conducting election in other timing. What was the main effect positive approach to one nation and one election? Massive cost saving. There is we know that the when the election conducting, there is a huge waste of cost is using. Like last election, 60,000 crore was used and 7 lakh polls were established. Then the is a huge cost establishing. For this reducing the cost, then we should conduct election in one time, so that legislative assembly and the parliament should one time election and the people and the cost are saving for the country. And when the reduction when we are seeing the security purpose, when the election are conducting, there are huge security protection are used. But if we are not security has, then there is a many disputes are aroused. And if we are getting one time election in 5 years, then there are many there we can find a security system established very well, and one time. And when administrative and security burden, there is a proper administrative functions are used to conducting an election. If there is a one, if there is a one delay, then there can be a massive problem created for the election. Uninterrupted governance and policy making. We know that when the election conducting, there is a entity is established so that the governmental work are cannot proper done, and every office government office projects are stopped for this conducting election properly. And when you turn the higher voter turnout, we'll see that in this time there is many times in 5 year elections, so the voters cannot get properly, and they are came one time to proper, and reducing the focus of caste, religion, and populism. We see that there is a every time when the election came, there is a many caste, religion, and population based proportion established. Then there is a sort out from the this, and in the conclusion we say the one nationalization is the best approach to in a country for the development and in other means. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request A2 to present the arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Yes. Honorable Chair, respected judges, and my worthy opponents of the intellectual legal fora, I stand before you to oppose the motion One Nation, One Election on the grounds that it severely undermines India's federal structure, constitutional safeguards, and democratic diversity. With the proposal may appear administratively efficient, it poses fundamental risk to the federal and pluralistic soul of the Indian democracy. The first and most crucial issue is that this proposal undermines the federal foundation of the Constitution. Article 1, Clause 1 of the Indian Constitution states, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, in the Constitution Assembly debates, clarified that the term union was deliberately used to prevent secession, not to deny autonomy. Federalism is reaffirmed in the landmark judgment of S.R. Bommai versus Union of India case, is the part of India's constitution's basic structure. Synchronizing elections across the nations undermines this federal balance by removing state control over election timelines. Secondly, the implementation of simultaneous elections would demand either the premature dissolution of functioning assemblies or the unconstitutional extension of their tenure. Article 83, Clause 2 and Article 172, Clause 1 clearly states that the Parliament and state assemblies are entitled to a full 5-year term. Any attempt to disrupt these terms without a national emergency under Article 352 would be unconstitutional. Moreover, Article 83, 85, 172, 174, and 356 of the Indian Constitution would not legally be difficult but also require ratification from at least half of all the states, making the proposal both legally and politically disruptive. This doesn't need a constitutional amendment, but this leads to a constitutional mutuality. Another danger is the erosion of democratic choice through what political scientists call the coattail effect. Evidences from 2019 simultaneous elections in Odisha shows that voters often choose same party for both national and state elections, even when local issues were distinct and the ones to be voiced out. According to the IDFC Institute's 2015 report, such synchronization encourages voters to prioritize national figures over local governance, diminishing the accountability of state leaders in the long run, which distorts India's representative democracy itself. And one of the primary arguments in favor of this motion is cost reduction, but which is a half-truth. The Election Commission estimates the 2029 simultaneous election will require around 8,000 crores, largely for EVMs, VVPATs, personnel, and polling logistics. However, the real cost driver is political parties' expenditure, 1.35 lakh crore in 2024 alone. The current staggered model allows better logistical management and resource distribution. The claim of efficiency overlook both practical and financial complexities. Simultaneous elections also place regional parties at a great disadvantage. These parties campaign on issues like subnational ideas, caste representation, and regional development, which often get overshadowed in national narratives. National parties have more funding, visibility, and media coverage. This tilts the electoral playing field and marginalizes the community whose voices are carried by smaller parties. As Pradeep Chinbar, and Susan Stokes note, the vote bundling effect creates a personality-driven democracy at the cost of local responsiveness. In conclusion, while one nation, one election seems like an efficient reform on the surface, it comes at the cost of our constitutional values and democratic pluralism. It weakens federalism, distorts electoral timelines, and sidelines regional voices in favor of centralization. India's democracy is strong because of its diversity, not besides. For the reasons I strongly and unequivocally oppose the motion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request F8 to present the arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
So can you please start my debate while at the count of 3? 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, sure. 3, 2, 1.
सर्वप्रथम निर्णायक मंडल व अन्य सभी काबिल प्रतिभागियों को मैं सादर प्रणाम करता हूं और मैं आज दिए गए विषय के पक्ष में अपने विचारों को अभिव्यक्त करना चाहता हूं। मित्रों, एक बार अटल जी ने कहा था कि चुनाव लोकतंत्र के हृदय की धड़कन है और यदि धड़कन बार बार धड़कने लगे तो समझ लीजिएगा कि स्वास्थ्य में कोई समस्या आने वाली है। इसलिए मैं इस बात से पूर्णतः सहमत हूं कि एक राष्ट्र चुनाव का विचार देश हित का विचार है। मित्रों, यदि एक बार चुनाव होते हैं तो देश के संसाधन, देश की व्यवस्थाएं व सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस का डिप्लॉयमेंट सुव्यवस्थित रूप से किया जा सकता है। आपने 2024 का चुनाव देखा तो सिर्फ ऑफिशियली यदि देखा जाए तो 1,35,000 करोड़ रुपए का खर्चा हुआ और इसी प्रकार से बार बार चुनाव होने पर न जाने कितने पैसे खर्च हो जाते हैं। आप देखिए अभी 2024 में लोकसभा का चुनाव हुआ और अभी दिल्ली का चुनाव हुआ और आगे आने वाले समय में तमिलनाडु, केरल, असम व यूपी के चुनाव होने वाले हैं और यह सिलसिला ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा। यानी जाड़ा, गर्मी हो या बरसात, हर मौसम में चुनाव की बात। और इसी कारणवश जो केंद्र की सरकारें हैं, बस प्रदेश की सरकारें हैं, या एक दूसरे से तालमेल बिठाकर कार्य कर ही नहीं पाते। और जो लोग ये कहते हैं कि यदि एक साथ चुनाव होगा तो निश्चित रूप से लोकसभा चुनाव का प्रभाव विधानसभा चुनाव पर पड़ेगा, तो मैं उन सभी से कहना चाहता हूं कि यदि आप ऐसा कहते हैं तो आप हमारे संविधान निर्माताओं व भारतीय मतदाताओं के विवेक पर प्रश्न उठा रहे हैं। मित्रों, भारत का मतदाता बहुत समझदार है, वह जानता है कब और किसे वोट देना है, जिसका प्रमाण उसने 2019 के चुनाव में पूर्ण रूप से दिखाया। मित्रों, यदि आपने गौर किया हो तो हमारे संविधान में एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव के विचार की नींव पहले से ही है। यदि आज कोई विधायक या किसी सांसद की मृत्यु हो जाती है या वो इस्तीफा दे देता है तो निश्चित रूप से दोबारा चुना गया प्रतिनिधि सिर्फ बचे हुए कार्यकाल के लिए ही पद संभालता है। इसके अतिरिक्त यदि हम देखें तो 1983 में चुनाव आयोग की रिपोर्ट व 1989 में लॉ कमीशन की रिपोर्ट या प्रत्यक्ष रूप से एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव का समर्थन करती है। इसके अतिरिक्त पूर्व राष्ट्रपति रामनाथ कोविंद जी की अध्यक्षता में गठित कमेटी ने यह साफ साफ दर्शाया है कि कहीं ना कहीं 1.5% की बढ़ोतरी होगी देश की जीडीपी में, 1.1% का इन्फ्लेशन रेट गिरेगा व 0.5 का निवेश देश की अर्थव्यवस्था में होगा। मित्रों, इसीलिए मैं इस बात से पूर्णतः सहमत हूं कि एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव देश हित का चुनाव है। और बार बार लोगों के द्वारा यह प्रश्न भी उठाया जाता है, यदि बार बार चुनाव होंगे तो निश्चित रूप से एक नेता लोगों के दरवाजे पर बार बार पहुंचते तो हैं। तो मैं उन सभी से कहना चाहूंगा कि आज नेता अनैतिक और अवांछित तरीकों का इस्तेमाल करके एक नहीं तो दूसरे चुनाव में जीत हासिल कर ही लेते हैं, परंतु यदि 5 साल में एक बार चुनाव होगा तो निश्चित रूप से नेता आपकी चौखट पर तभी आएगा जब वो 5 साल में देश हित में कोई कार्य करके बैठा होगा, ना कि अपनी सत्ता को बचाने के लिए। और अंत में मैं इस मंच से एक बात बड़ी ही स्पष्टता से कहना चाहता हूं, एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव देश को आर्थिक, सामाजिक व राजनीतिक तौर पे मजबूत करने का कार्य करेगा और जो हम सब भारतवासियों ने मिलकर 2047 तक भारत को एक विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने का संकल्प लिया है, उसे पूर्ण करने की नींव भी रखेगा। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you so much. Now I request A5 to please begin the arguments.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Sir, can you do the 3, 2, 1 countdown for me too, please?
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. So, good morning, everyone. Today, I am here to speak against the motion that one nation, one election is a solution to India's electoral challenges. First of all, we have to understand what are India's electoral challenges. To point out, a fair and democratic election needs 3 things. First thing being an independent and responsive poll conducting body. So let's assume that India as a country, if it has to evolve in a mature democracy or has to conduct fair election, it must have a election commission of India which is independent. So the election commission of India is a constitutional body. It is constituted under constitution. Is it a independent body or it is under the question mark? In the case of Anup Banwal versus Union of India, the Supreme Court made a 3-member body consisting of Chief Justice of India, the leader of opposition, and the Prime Minister to appoint the next election commissioner. But we see that the central government came with a rule in the night itself, which replaced the Chief Justice of India to a cabinet minister. And in India, if we have a little knowledge of politics, we know that any cabinet minister would not dare to go against the prime minister. Now, I want to tell you a case study of Ashok Lavasa, the election commissioner who was against 6 of the judgment of the election commission that the prime minister and the home minister of that time has violated moral code of conduct. And he was barred from attending the meeting which were deciding on the eligibility of election. So is there any rational argument that an independent and responsive election commission can be gained by by implementing one nation, one election? So that was the first problem. The second problem is communalism or casteism or the prevalency of criminal and money politics in India. As of 2024 election, 251, mind you, I want to repeat, 251 out of 538 candidates who are elected to Lok Sabha are somehow implemented in a criminal case. And out of that, 171 are implemented in a serious case. How does a rational argument can be made that one nation, one election gonna solve this problem? Because the basic idea or the basic rationale which is given behind one nation, one election is, according to the Ramnath Kovind report, that it is going to reduce the burden of money or it is going to reduce the burden of time. Let me tell you that there is no practical experience to these claims. I want to just give one example. According to the report, 2029 should be the year when one nation, one election be implemented. And mind you, 19 legislature of the state has to be dissolved prematurely to conduct that. This is against the basic structure of India that consists federalism. Now, I have heard many arguments that the first 2 decades of the election was conducted simultaneously. Let me tell you a fact about that. In 1952, when the first 1957, when the second general election was being conducted, 17 state legislature was dissolved prematurely. But it was done with the consensus of all the political party involved and a conference which was being called by Election Commission of India. Are today every party is in favor of one nation and one election? This is a question we should ask to ourselves. Constitution should not be implemented just in words. It should be implemented in the spirits, and the spirit will be violated by one nation, one election. And all the things which I have pointed out, the challenges to electoral democracy or electoral process in India cannot be solved by one nation, one election. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Looks like everyone needs a break and technology is no exception. So we'll be taking a 5 minutes breather before session 2.
Now we are beginning with session 2. Now I request F9 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Greetings. So, can I start? Yeah, okay.
Yes, you
So,
can.
our constitution envision a nation where governance is seamless and free and public welfare is prioritized. But frequent elections seem to disrupt this vision. Our former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee once said that elections are the heartbeat of democracy. But if heartbeat is too fast, it signals a problem. Now, what can be the problem? You know, in 2024, India spent 1.35 lakh crore rupees in general election. Karnataka alone spent 511 crore rupees in 2023, with additional costs at local level. Beyond cost, elections at every level from local to national trap us in perpetual cycle of campaigning. Model Code of Conduct stalled governance for 800 days for just 5 years between 2014 to 19, delaying welfare schemes. Teachers are pulled from schools, officers from duties, and identity politics is amplified. Elections mean to empower, often fuel corruptions, freebies, and short term politics. So, what's the way forward? Electoral reforms are many, but one nation, one election is the bold first step. Practiced in India from 1952 to 67, it means synchronizing state and national level elections, eventually local ones too. Not across the country in one go, but it means synchronizing it for the same booth in the same day. It could boost GDP by 1.5%, that is 4.5 lakh crore rupees of fiscal year 24. It would, Article 38 and 39 of the Constitution call this misuse a violation of economic justice. Moreover, it would also attract foreign direct investments by 20 to 30% as it would be politically stable country. It provides stability for 5 years, means free from constant vote bank politics and continuous disruptions. Frequent polls also exhaust voters. Studies from Indraprasth University and international examples like Germany and Indonesia shows that simultaneous elections could boost voters' turnout. Teachers and public servants often pull from duties every few months would face this disruption just once in 5 years. Moreover, it also ends the cycle of relentless fundraising and freebies caused by the continuous elections. Critics called it impractical, but this is the same India that reached Mars in a budget lower than a Hollywood movie and rose from colonial rule to top 5 global economies. Reform take time, yes, but they begin with belief. And constitutional amendments, we have done over 100, and this one too is within our reach. Then concerns about the federal structure. So it does not affect or touch the state power. It's a calendar reform and not a power grab. Countries like Belgium and South Africa have proved that simultaneous elections can be continued without undermining diversity. In states like Odisha and Andhra Pradesh have proved that voters can very well distinguish between the national and the local concerns. Still, mechanisms are required to ensure that regional voices remain heard. One nation, one election won't fix everything, but it's a powerful start backed by Law Commission, Niti Aayog, and 81% of the public support. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Now I request A6 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
A very fanatic morning to one and all present here. I, as ASIC, has a notion against one nation, one election theory. As my competitors said that the economic or GDP will be increased by one nation, one election theory. But the truth is the GDP will not going to increase as they are showing, because if we are doing one nation, one election, if we are synchronizing the election on one particular date, obviously we need EVM machines, electronic voting machine, and the finances budget of our governance will go there. So it will not much impact on economy. Secondly, I believe that one nation, one election theory infringes the constitution, as we know that Article 324, which defines the power of election commissions of direction, controlling, and supervision of all the electoral activities. So, if the government has appointed another committees for elections, so it infringes the constitution. So, we can say that this policy or this bill is against constitution. Further, she said that the involvement of the people will increase, but the truth is a major chunk of our country is not literate enough to recognize the difference between MPs and MLAs elections. For example, if we go in village areas, we know that middle class and lower middle class are more involved in the elections. So they don't differentiate between the MPs and MLAs, which can lead into wrong decisions of election. Further, it may create overburden on the governance, the electoral commission. It may bring the face of the first election that we held, where the list was not proper, people listing was not as simple and proper. Further, we can say the power of president by one nation, one election is going to be decreased to recognize or to dissolve the Lok Sabha. The another thing is that it also infringes the regional issues. The regional party who has not as such resources, maybe not recognized, and obviously the federal structure, which we believe will be infringing the we can say that the federal system, which we believe by providing the power from center to state and state to local, it will not be defined as the local regional issue will be overshadowed by the national issues like security and major defense issues. At the end, I want to conclude that is, one nation, one election is theory is all about unity or synchronizing the election, but on basis of infringing the democracy is it is not good enough for our country, for the federal structure of our country. So this is what my opinion is. Thank you for this opportunity. Pleasure.
Thank you so much. Now I request F10 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Good morning, respected judges, teachers, and my dear friends. Today, I stand in firm support of motion. One nation, one election. Is it the solution to
Please
India's
speak
electoral
loudly.
challenges? And
Please
my
speak
answer
loudly.
and my answer is confident yes. Imagine instead of elections happening almost every few months somewhere in India, we vote together once in a grand celebration of democracy. This is the idea behind one nation, one election. First, let's understand the problem. Right now, elections happen separately. Lok Sabha, state assemblies, panchayats, municipalities almost every year. Because of this, the model code of conduct is imposed repeatedly. Development projects freeze. Government slow down, public money is wasted. According to the Law Commission of India and the Niti Aayog, the 2019 general elections alone cost around 60,000 crores. Imagine the amount of fund we could save and invest in healthcare, education, infrastructure instead. And it's not just about money. Frequent elections create what experts call policy paralysis. Government, instead of focusing on long-term reforms, are always busy managing elections. Where is the time for the real governance if every year becomes an election year? Security forces are also overburdened. Lakhs of personnel are deployed again and again. Former election commissioner S.Y. Qureshi rightly said, continuous elections drain administrative resource and distract from governance. Friends, this idea is not new. From 1952 to 1967, India successfully held simultaneous Lok Sabha and state assembly elections. It was only after political instability that the cycle broke, and some fear it might harm India's federal structure. But the Law Commission and the COVID Committee have suggested practical solutions like constructive votes of no confidence and synchronized by elections to protect states' autonomy while keeping a common election cycle. And let's not forget, a nationwide survey shows that nearly 80% of citizens support one nation and one election. Even many regional parties have shown positive response. One nation, one election is not just about convenience, it's about saving resource, strengthening democracy, ensuring stable governance, and respecting the voters' trust. In the words of the Prime Minister Modi, frequent elections affect the spirit of cooperative federalism and development. One nation, one election is the need of hour. It is a historic opportunity, an opportunity for India to speak in one voice, powerful, united, and determined to build a better future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request A13 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Democracy thrives on diversity, not uniformity. One nation, one election threatens this diversity and risks weakening the very spirit of our constitution. Respected judges, fellow debaters, I stand firmly against the proposal of one nation, one election as a solution to India's electoral challenges. Firstly, it goes against the idea of federalism. India is a federal country where center and state have their own autonomy. And if when simultaneous elections are conducted, the center would have to dissolve the state assemblies prematurely, which goes against the principles of federalism. And if simultaneous elections are held, then the state assemblies would have to extend their term also, because this is very unfair, because people elect their government for a tenure of 5 years, not more or less. Secondly, when simultaneous elections are held, it will overshadow the regional issues, because when national and state elections are held together, it is certain that the national issues like security, defense, and policy making will take the spotlight and the media attention, and the regional issues like agriculture, rural development will be neglected. And a study shown by IDFC Institute titled Analysis of the Simultaneous Elections showcased that there is a 77% chance that people will elect the same party for both the center and the state. Thirdly, the simultaneous election will reduce the accountability of the parties, because when elections are held consistently and monthly, then the government will have to stay accountable, because they know that if they perform poorly or if they mishandle a crisis, they will be removed from the next state election and their chances of winning will decrease. But when simultaneous elections are held, they know that if that they are accountable to only once a year, because they know that they are fixed for a tenure of whole 5 years. Fourthly, India has a huge population of 1.3 billion people, and out of that people, 900 million are registered voters. And managing such a huge number of people is very demanding and a complex process. And in Covid Committee report, the supporters have compared India to Indonesia, where the simultaneous elections were held. But let's be clear that Indonesia has a registered voters of 200 million people, which is not even half of that of India. So comparing them to India is very unrealistic and ignores the ground reality. Finally, it claims that it will save it tons of money. But in reality, in 2019 elections, most of the funding were private funding, and it was not the taxpayer burdens. The government, that is the Election Commission of India, paid only 8,000 to 10,000 crore rupees. And in a study shown by the Law Commission 2018's draft report on simultaneous elections, it was held that when simultaneous elections are conducted, it would need a lot of EVMs, which will cost around 13,000 crore rupees. So, and we should also not risk our democracy for saving money. At first glance, one nation, one election may sound efficient, but beneath the surface, it poses serious threats to our democracy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request F1 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
May I start?
Yes, you may start.
Honorable judges and my dear friends, a very good morning to everyone present here. Today, I stand in firm support of the motion, one nation, one election. Is it a solution to electoral challenges? Yes, certainly it is. Friends, our constitution makers envision India as a vibrant democracy. In the initial years after independence from 1951 to 1967, we successfully conducted simultaneous elections to both Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. Governance was stable, expenditure was limited, and national focus remained on development rather than on campaigning. It was only after repeated premature dissolutions of state legislatures that India slipped into a cycle of frequent and fragmented elections. Today, this cycle has placed enormous pressure on our economy, our administration, our security forces, and most importantly, our voters. Let's look at the staggered numbers. In 2024 alone, India has spent over 1.35 lakh crores on conducting elections. On an average, 60,000 crores is being spent for every election. Imagine this money could fund thousands of government schools, healthcare centers, and vital rural infrastructure projects. Let us go into the statistics. 170th report of the Law Commission of India in 1999, especially in paragraph number 7.2.1 and 7.2.2, critically highlighted these issues. The Commission recommended that simultaneous elections be restored in a phased manner to ensure the governance and reduce disruption. Adding to this, 79th report of Parliamentary Standing Committee in 2015 pointed out that frequent elections hinder governance. It proposed election dates to be fixed to bring predictability and reduce repeated expenditure. In the same report, it also warns about the adverse effects of MCC, which is the Model Code of Conduct. Every time an election is announced, the MCC freezes the government's decision-making capacity. Essential development projects are delayed, and urgent welfare measures are stalled. Moreover, the working paper of Niti Aayog 2017 strongly argued for a shift towards simultaneous elections. It emphasized not just economic benefits, but also stressed that frequent elections perpetuate a cycle of populism, where short-term electoral gains are prioritized over long-term nation building. The Law Commission's draft report of 2018 looked at the issue comprehensively, which includes the economically simultaneous election means massive savings and better resource allocation. Socially, they reduce political divisions and multiple elections often deepen. Politically, they provide stability. Governments can focus on governance, not just winning elections every year. Legally, the report shows the required constitutional amendments are possible through consensus and careful planning. And last but not least, environmentally, one nation, one election cycle means reduced energy usage, less environmental degradation from endless rallies, and a smaller carbon footprint. Therefore, friends, based on our own history, backed by multiple expert reports, and driven by common sense and national interest, I firmly believe one nation, one election is not just an idea. It is the need of hour. It is solution of India's electoral challenges. Let us move forward with courage, clarity, and commitment to a stronger democracy. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. Now I request A15 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments. Kindly switch on the camera.
Okay, I'm trying. Just a minute. Audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Respected judges, esteemed guests, and fellow debaters, we are gathered here to discuss the soul of our democracy. A democracy not built on uniformity but on diversity, decentralization, and dialogue. Today, I, A15, stand firmly against the motion that one nation, one election is an answer to electoral challenges. India's electoral problems are deep and complex. Synchronization of elections is not a surgery of our democratic needs, but a mere cosmetic treatment of a chronic disease. I'll present three main arguments that support my view. First, the high-level committee is itself flawed. It overwhelmingly focused on the implementation of one nation, one election and marginalized the dissenting views. This shows a clear shift from evaluation to executive planning, suggesting that the committee's starting position was already in favor of one nation, one election. As my learned opponent mentioned that simultaneous elections would reduce election-related cost, my second argument is it is an administrative myth, as it is not even backed up by any committee report or comparative analysis. I would rather say that a single large election would induce an increased capital cost and campaigning expenditure. Just think about it. Elections are the only way to operationalize democracy. And it is even more painful to say that cheapest elections would mean cheapest democracy. Third, it silences local issues. When national and regional elections are combined, national issues overshadow the local ones. Regional parties would have to contest 3 elections at a time given their limited resources. This will lead to India becoming first one nation, one party, and then one nation, one leader. And the very spirit of India, the very spirit of India, that is democracy, would be destroyed. At last, I would like to conclude by saying that elections are the only way, that democracy is not a convenience. It's about voices, many voices at many times for many reasons. So if we want to bring real reforms, we have to target the real problems like criminalization of elections, voter misinformation, and black money in politics. Synchronization of elections does not cleanse our democracy. India's electoral spirit is vibrant because it is responsive, continuous, and local. Let us preserve the spirit. Let us strengthen our democracy and not synchronize it into silence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request F12 to kindly switch on their camera.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Can I start?
Yes, you can start.
In the words of Franklin D. Roosevelt, I quote, "Democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choice are prepared to choose wisely." I unquote. My warm greetings to the respected judges, esteemed faculty, and my fellow speakers. Today, I stand before you to advocate a vision that can redefine governance in India. One nation, one election. India, the land that taught the world the meaning of a republic, that lit the first lamp of democracy, today find itself entangled in the web of frequent elections. Imagine a nation where governance is uninterrupted, where leaders focus not on surviving the next election but on building the next generation. Imagine policies crafted for progress and not for populism. Today, elections are conducted somewhere in the country almost every few months. The 2019 general elections alone cost the exchequer around 60,000 crore rupees. And if we add to that the cost of numerous state and local elections, we are burdening our economy enormously in the name of democracy. And more critically, frequent elections lead to policy paralysis, where governments hesitate to take bold decisions fearing the electoral consequences. But there are some people who argue that simultaneous elections would harm federalism. But my dear friends, unity and uniformity are not the same thing. Article 368 of our constitution ensures that any electoral reform must respect the autonomy of the states. A synchronized election cycle will not diminish the federal structure. Instead, it will strengthen the cooperative federalism. And this is definitely not a utopian idea. Indonesia, South Africa, Sweden, all of them conduct simultaneous elections successfully, then why can't we? And to those who say that India is too diverse for that, I ask, are we diverse only during the elections? When a farmer from Punjab and a fisherman from Tamil Nadu sing the same national anthem, when a Kashmiri kawa and a Rajasthani dal bati share the same plate, when a Malayali and a Bihari proudly wear the same tricolor, then why can't we vote together for a stronger, united Bharat? As Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam once said, that dream is not that which you see while sleeping, it is something that doesn't let you sleep. So let us dream of a Bharat where democracy is not a 24/7 election cycle, but a 5-year mission for progress. Let us dream of a Bharat where governance is not all about political survival, but about public service. And my dear friends, let us not just dream, let us build. Thank you.
Am I audible? Can I start? Yes, you can start.
Honorable judges, my learned debaters, and the vigilant citizens of our republic, good morning to one and all. Today, I do not rise merely to oppose a bill. I rise today to protect the living soul of our Indian democracy. I stand firmly against the motion One Nation, One Election. Why do we need a change? Are the election disrupting India today? No. India ranks among the world's most vibrant democracies. Like, why fix what is not even broken? One nation, one election sounds seductive, but beneath its simplicity lies a brutal assault on federalism, political diversity, and democratic relicenses. It is a threat to the federal soul of India. The Law Commission admitted that one nation, one election demands massive constitutional amendments across multiple articles, which is extremely difficult. Federalism is non negotiable. It has been reaffirmed, like in the landmark cases like SR Bomai, the articles such as 245 of the Indian Constitution, and I metaphorically quote that states are sovereign, not a district of Delhi. Indian National Bar Association won multiple times. Simultaneously, polls can fatally compromise the state autonomy. And why don't we question about what is the condition when the government falls earlier? Article 83 and 172 of the Constitution grant the fixed terms of the Lok Sabha and the Assembly, forcing synchronization, shatter this balance. And don't you think that this one nation, one election will definitely create a political monopoly, destroy the diversity? And also, the IDFC Institute data shows that 77% of the synchronization, when the polls are conducted simultaneously, leads to the manufacture of consent by the citizens. And why am we not highlighting the behavioral aspect of the voter? Because indeed we have to note that one citizen, one voter, when votes for the central elections, looks about the border, the security, and while on the other hand, while voting for the state election, looks outside the road of his house. The smaller parties, the new movement, the regional voices, all are suffocated under this narrative. And why are we not even focusing on the national security? We have to understand that when we create one nation, one election simultaneously at 1 month or one stretch of time, can we have to understand that the India will be at the worst vulnerability situation, and we invite the hostile neighbors like China, Pakistan, and the fresh horrors like Pahalgam attack that recently happened, and we leave our nation at democracy society. And I like to mention that economic is a mirage. The cost saving argument is a myth. We are ignoring the quadral EVMs, massive welfare, and we are leading the citizens into mere silence. In the end, I would like to state that government come and go, but democracy must endure. Fearlessly, relentlessly. We are just not one nation. We are 1.4 billions of dreams. Let us not amputate our democracy for our illusion of efficiency. I say no, not in my India, not in this house, not in our constitution name. One nation, one election is not the solution. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request F13 to kindly switch on the camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Shall I start?
Yes, you can start.
Elections are the biggest festivals in a democracy. Question here is that, are we celebrating it in the right manner? Because every time when elections happen, daily wage laborers lose their pay, farmers lose their harvest, teachers are pulled out of classrooms, infrastructure growth slows, cash flow is reduced, and the whole market stagnates. All this happens on public money. That's why I stand in favor of one nation, one election. Politically, it is very beneficial as it provides for inclusive politics, which means that all the political parties, whether they are big or small, they all get the same time to prepare for the election. Also, the leaders for big parties who try to contest in all the elections can't do so now. So more seats are available for emerging leaders. Further, when local issues are mixed with national issues, everyone starts thinking about solutions that are holistic in nature, which is going to benefit the whole country. And you cannot ignore one caste or community, due to which marginalized sections which are not part of the vote bank at the national level or the regional level are also benefited. Another upside is voter turnout, which is obviously going to increase, but more than that, it is going to help those who travel from their working place to their domiciles to cast their votes. Now, the opposition may argue that holding elections simultaneously will raise confusions in the mind of voters and they might elect same parties at different levels. But let me tell you that the Indian electorate is not that naive. Last time when One Nation, One Election happened in 1967, the Congress party, which won at the center, lost 7 out of 17 states of that time. Administrative issues like logistics are a real concern as a lot more EVMs and manpower are actually going to be required. But let us check the history of this very country, the biggest democracy of the world. We were able to hold One Nation, One Election in the first General Assembly elections in 1951-52 with so less of technology, so less of literacy, and we had just become independent. If we were able to do it then why can't we do it now with everything that we have today? Plus, it will also help in continuity of governance as policy implementation will not stop in the name of model code of conduct and politicians will focus more on long-term goals and policies which will in result give confidence to the voter. The opposition may argue about the midterm dissolution of states or arbitrary imposition of president rule by the center. But hey, that issue is already solved by the Supreme Court with the landmark judgment of S.R. Bommai versus Union of India, which restricted the arbitrary use of president rule. The economic benefits provided by this are enormous. As last general elections, we spent more than 1 lakh crores, and that is only the government expenditure. With this, we can save almost 12,000 crores, which are then going to be used for public welfare. And also, we are going to get an increase in 1.5 points percentage in GDP growth, which is very crucial. At the present time, when trade war is a reality and there is so much of economic uncertainty, synchronized elections are the solutions which saves resources, reduces disruptions, provides stability, which the citizens of a democracy like India deserve. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request A14 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
So, respected audience, I would like to speak on the topic One Nation, One Election, which appears to be efficient, but it poses serious threat to our nation and sets India on a path of dictatorship. Let's see how. The first point is the threat to federalism. So, what is federalism? It is the division of power between the center and the state, and it is a core component of the basic structure of the constitution. And it was stated in Keshwan and Bharti case that Parliament cannot amend the basic structure doctrine. So, why is the state trying to amend this, or is it trying to snatch the autocracy of the state by centralizing its power? The second point I would like to put up is that, as per the 18th Law Commission report, it was stated that at least 18 states will have to devolve their constituencies earlier. So, can we force the state to dissolve their constituency before the tenure ends, or centralize their power? Both these scenarios are very dangerous because to achieve them, we'll have to rewrite Article 83, 85, 172, 174, and Article 356, and at least 50% states assent to apply this. And in a country like India, where is a deep division of politics, can we achieve this so smoothly? The third point I would like to put up is that this One Nation, One Election is not a new concept.
it has been in India from 1951 to 1967, then what happened that it stopped or led to the failure of this thing? It was because because of the dissatisfaction of the people, because defection, because of regional problem, and because of political coalition. And states like Haryana, Kerala, and these states were out of the sync by 1967. So why is the state again trying to implement this when it was a failure earlier? The next point I would like to put up is that the 2024 Lok Sabha election, where two other states' election were held simultaneously, and in those two states also the NDA was a win. And so, can we say that the center can have an influence on the state as well? Then the last point I want to put up is that let's assume that one nation, one election has been implemented. But what happens if any state devolves earlier? Will the people have to wait for the next 5-year tenure, or will there be will they have to be without any government? Or there'll be a separate election which will be against the core component of the synchronized election. What will the government do then? So I would like to conclude with a powerful slogan that democracy is a daily fight and not a 5-year silent night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request F14 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
मैं शुरू करूं?
Yes, you can.
नमस्कार आदरणीय निर्णायक मंडल, आदरणीय आयोजकगण, आप सभी को मेरा सादर प्रणाम। आज मैं हमारे विषय एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव इस विषय के समर्थन में अपने कुछ बिंदु आप सभी के समक्ष प्रस्तुत करना चाहूंगा। भारत में चुनाव को लोकतंत्र का पर्व माना जाता है। ये एक उत्साह के तौर पे देखा जाता है, एक त्योहार के तौर पे देखा जाता है। हर जगह पे बैनर्स लगते हैं, चुनाव के मुद्दे उठ रहे होते हैं, डिबेट्स हो रही होती हैं, पॉलिटिकल रैलियां निकल रही होती हैं। वैसे एक बार अटल जी ने कहा था कि चुनाव लोकतंत्र के हृदय की धड़कन है। अगर ये धड़कन ज्यादा तेज हो जाए तो एक बीमारी का भी रूप ले सकती है। उसी तरीके से मेरा इस बिंदु को समर्थन देने के कुछ 4 मुख्य जो बिंदु हैं वो है कि ये एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव हमारी कार्यात्मक शैली, हमारी राजनीतिक शैली, संवैधानिक शैली, सामाजिक शैली के तहत है। अगर मैं अपने बिंदु को समर्थन देने के लिए कुछ उदाहरण देना चाहूँ तो जैसे कार्यात्मक शैली की बात करें तो जैसे कि हम जानते हैं जब भी केंद्र या राज्य के चुनाव होते हैं तो केंद्र पर राज्य सरकार का आरोप लगता है और राज्य पे केंद्र का। लेकिन जब अगर एक साथ एक समय पे चुनाव अगर हो रहे हैं तो दोनों 6 महीने के लिए एक दूसरे पे एक राजनीतिक जो उनका ओपिनियन या कह सकते हैं हम वो कर सकते हैं, उसके बाद 4.5 साल वो काम कर सकते हैं। दूसरी, जैसे हमारे सुरक्षा दलों की जो मुख्यतः कार्य होती है वो होती है देश की रक्षा करना। लेकिन प्रत्येक वर्ष अगर हम चुनाव करवाते रहेंगे तो उन सभी का जो समय सुरक्षा के लिए जो उनको सुरक्षा के लिए तैनाती की गई है सुरक्षा की जगह वो चुनाव में समय जा रहा है, जिसके कारण बहुत सारे अपराध जो हो रहे हैं वो नहीं रोके जा पाएंगे। तीसरी, जैसे कि एक नॉर्मल स्कूल जितने भी विद्यालय होते हैं उन सब में जो वर्किंग डे होती है, अगर हम उदाहरण के तौर पे माने 250 दिन अगर हो रही है तो जो सरकारी विद्यालय होते हैं वहां पे बार बार इलेक्शन बूथ आना, उस कारण से बच्चों की जो छुट्टियां पड़ जाती है उसकी वजह से उनकी शिक्षा पे भी बहुत प्रभाव पड़ता है। उसके बाद में हमारे चीफ इलेक्शन कमीशन सुशील चंद्र जी ने भी कहा था कि उनको एक वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन यानी एक समय पे सभी इलेक्शन करवाने में कोई आपत्ति नहीं है। तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि जो इसकी कार्यात्मक शैली है वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन की, इसमें कोई भी विपदा या आपदा नहीं आने वाली है। उसके साथ में अपनी दूसरी बिंदु जो कि राजनीतिक बिंदु, तो जैसे विपक्षी दल या फिर कोई भी जो व्यक्ति इस एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव के विपक्ष में बोलते हैं, उनका यही एक बिंदु होता है कि यहाँ पे अगर केंद्र सरकार और राज्य सरकार के चुनाव एक साथ होंगे तो उसमें राज्य सरकार का प्रभाव पड़ेगा जनता पे। लेकिन मैं आपको बता देना चाहता हूँ उदाहरण के तौर पे 2019 के केंद्र सरकार के इलेक्शन में तेलंगाना, आंध्रा और ओडिशा के इलेक्शंस हुए थे, जिसमें केंद्र में एनडीए की सरकार आई थी, लेकिन राज्यों में दूसरे पार्टी की सरकार बन गई थी। तो ये कह देना, और अगर ये कोई व्यक्ति कहता है तो हम इससे हमारे जनता की जो विचारात्मक शैली है उस पर हम सवाल कर रहे हैं, जो कि गलत है। संवैधानिक बात करें तो अगर कोई कहता है कि इसमें हम कैसे इसको जारी रखेंगे अगर विधानसभा एक डिसॉल्व हो जाती है, तो जैसे कि हमारे थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you so much. Now I request the judges to kindly note down. So far, only 2 participants is absent. That is code A12 and code A11. A17. Only
एक
2
बार फिर से बता
participants
दीजिए।
are absent. Code A12 and code A17.
A12 and A17.
17.
A12, A17.
Now we will take 5-minute break before beginning with session 3. Now we will begin with session 3. Now I request F15 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Can I start?
Yes, you can start.
Greeting to respected judges, esteemed panel, and fellow debater. Today, I F15 stand to affirm the motion that one nation, one election is a solution to India's electoral challenges. To start, just think of our election process. It seems like an uninterrupted loop of disruptions. Just like a classroom where a frequent distractions prevents a meaningful learning, same while the election in India prevents the government to work more effectively and efficiently, inflates the cost of elections, and also it leads to the higher voter fatigue. Though the simultaneous elections is an old idea, but a new version. That is, the election to be contested of Lok Sabha, state assemblies, and local bodies at once in different phases, but doesn't mean that on a single day all over the India. So here are the key challenges that can be addressed by the simultaneous elections. First, it reduces the cost and the financial burden on the government. India's elections affair is the most expensive affair in the world. As per the ECI, the data provides the major heads of the cost, which includes the cost in the TAD of the employees in elections, the cost of transportations or the logistic, the cost we incurred in setting up polling stations. So as the frequency of election increases, the cost is repeatedly incurred by the government or the ECI. So simultaneous election is a solution to that, as it leads to the election to be held once in a term of 5 years without any frequent elections in the country. Second, it helped to promote a stable governance. Recently, India faces multiple time MCC in different regions across the country. But when the simultaneous elections is implemented, it will lead to the implementation of MCC once in a fixed term of 5 years. So it will help the government to work more efficiently and effectively. It's helped the government to complete its infrastructure projects on time without any delays and work for the development of the country. Third, it will help to increase the voter participations. A study at Concordia University on the simultaneous elections in India provide a model under which a simultaneous elections will improve the voter participation in the elections. The study is a comparison between the benefits and the cost that India will incur and motivate the participants to vote in elections. So further, it helps the country to be form its democratic spirit more definitely. It will help it will help the it will help the country to be more democratic in its systems. That is, more participation of voters will lead to more votes and firm democracy. Later on, it will also provide a new doors for the contingent situations like the hung assemblies or the situations of no confidence motion. In this, India can implement the situations of constructive vote of no confidence. Further, I would like to conclude by saying that one nation, one election is the need of the hour and is a transformative reforms that India seeks for its better future and democratic system. Thank you.
I request Now I request A18 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
In a country where every river, every language, and every culture are different, forcing one election is just like forcing one heartbeat for billion life. Good morning. Today, I rise to stand against the motion before you to oppose an interesting idea, which looked good at first. One nation, one election. But after hearing this, a simple but serious question arises in our mind. Is this really good for democracy? Is it really good for us, a common man? I say no, and here's why. It attacks democracy and federalism. Our constitution, our Baba Sahib Ambedkar's constitution, gave power both to the center and to the state, as every state has its own culture, has its own people, and has its own issues. Can you solve a farmer's problem in a Karnataka with the same solution you use in a Kashmir? In my personal opinion, I say no, as each state needs its own leader needs its own election in its own time. One nation, one election is just like putting everyone in a one time frame. It forces states to break their natural timelines just to suit a national schedule. Does state autonomy exist beyond this? Further, it also hides local issues under national noise. Today, when one go for vote for an election of MLA, he asks to his inner soul, did my roads get repaired? Did the school nearby improved? But if you are voting for an MLA and MP at the same election, which issue will shout louder? Of course, big national issues like global war, foreign relations, and economy. It will take away one problem of potholes on roads. Already a study at IDFC Institute shows that when election happens together, 77% of the voters choose the same party at the center and the state. It's not that they like the party, but because big party advertisements blind them. Your problem may be small, but it is real and it is buried. It should not be buried by the big speeches. Is this unity in diversity or uniformity by force? Without regular elections at different levels, government will become lazy and corrupt. Without fear of elections, politicians will be more comfortable with the big giants and corporations and ignore the common man. Even in 2016, when the demonetization happened and elections in the 5 states were due, the government panicked because it feared that the people's anger at the ballot box. In this concept of one nation, one elections, the pressure would not be existing. They say one nation and one election will save money. I repeat, they say one nation and one election will save money. But since when did we start putting price tags on our democracy? If saving money was really the aim, why don't we first tackle the problem of corruption, where we lose lakhs of crore every year? In the 2024 Global Corruption Perception Index, India ranks 96 out of 180 countries. Shouldn't fixing that be the bigger priority? We won't get more IITs and IIM by taking money out of elections, but we'll get them by stopping corruption. Elections are not about cost cutting. It's the investment. Investment is the very foundation of the democracy, our freedom, dignity, and justice. No one will sell our right to vote just for a few rupees. We are not a one-size-fits-all nation. Therefore, let's reject one nation, one election and protect our India, our democracy, and our common man and freedom of speech through ballot at different junctures. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. Now I request F16 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Dr. B.R. Ambedkar once said, democracy is not merely a form of government, it is primarily... Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. You can speak.
Dr. B.R. Ambedkar once said, democracy is not merely a form of government, but it is primarily a mode of associated living. Today, to strengthen that mode of associated living, we need reforms like one nation, one election. With this, I am Aman Sharma, the second-year law student from the University of Jammu, stand here firmly in the favor of the motion, one nation, one election. Is it the solution of the electoral? The answer, my dear friends, is yes. India, the world's largest democracy, hold elections almost every year to the Lok Sabha, the state assemblies, and the legal bodies. While elections are the soul of the democracy, frequent elections have become a burden, not a celebration. Currently, the Election Commission spends around 55,000 crore on just the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Add this to the cost of frequent state elections. The members are very huge. The citizens argued that democracy is expensive, so it's worth it. I say true, democracy is endless, but wasteful expenditure is not. Efficiency strengthens democracy, it doesn't weaken it. Imagine how many schools, hospitals could have been built, how many scholarships could have been given, how many villages could have been transformed. Whenever elections happen, model code of conduct is imposed. Sir, in 2018-19, with the back-to-back elections in Rajasthan, MP, Chhattisgarh, important decisions like farm subsidies and infrastructure products were delayed, which directly impacts the common citizens. In one nation, one election, the government will have a full power years to work without interruptions, ensuring that policies are implemented for a long-term welfare of the people, not just political gains. Some argue that simultaneously elections are impossible in a country as diverse in India. Sir, India is very proof that it is possible. So in 1952, 1957, 1962, 1967, India successfully held simultaneous elections for both center and state. If we could do it once, we can do it again, and even better with today's technology, better infrastructure, and experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, when this reform is not about helping one government or helping other government, about strengthening the very soul of the Indian democracy, it is about ensuring that the focus returns to what truly matters: education, healthcare, infrastructure, equality, and prosperity. एक चुनाव, एक आवाज, एक देश, एक विश्वास. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request A19 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm Jain. So here I begin. At first glance, simultaneous election may be efficient, but in fact, it is neither practical, constitutional, nor desirable for a nation as big, diverse as India. Firstly, one nation, one election assault the very foundation of India federal system and integral component of the basic structure of the constitution as initiated in the milestone case of S.R. Bomaya versus Union of India 1994. Federalism vests states with the power of govern independently, compelling them to synchronize their poll calendar would be violent attack on their constitutional sovereignty. Elections are conducted at the various times due to government collapsing, assembling being dissolved, and political dynamic changing. Consider Madhya Pradesh 2022. The government collapse midterm would be then postpone democracy and install president rule until the next national election. Such as action would squarely go against the intent of Article 172, which provides people rights to elect government for a fixed term. Let's discuss the vote. Let's discuss the voters. Indian voters are intelligent. They make the distinction between state and national issues. Statistics by CSDS Lokniti revealed that voter behavior during Lok Sabha polls is dissimilar to assembly polls. Even when there was a sweeping BJP in at the national level in 2019, the party lost important state election in Jharkhand, Maharashtra, and Chhattisgarh simultaneously polls. Therefore, would confuse like local issues, suppress regional votes, regional voices, and advance national parties. The determining of diversity. Additionally, the claim that one nation, one election would be cost-saving in this false economy. Democracy is not something to be cut back on it or investment in our future. The Supreme Court in People Union for Civil Liberties Union of India 2003 reiterated that election have to be free, fair, and transparent, not rushed or lumped together for convenience. So finally, one nation, one election would intend sweeping constitution amendment to Article 83, 85, 172, and 356. And according to the Kesan and the Bharti case, the 1970, the tinkering with the basic structure is not allowed. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, India's electoral issues call for reforms, not illusion informity. We require more regulations of campaign finance to thorough informants of model codes and electoral transparency, not a coordinated mega election that undermines federal and democracy. Therefore, I firmly reject the motion, one nation, one election, not the answer to electoral. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Now I request F17 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Hello. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Okay. Esteemed judges and fellow participants, very good morning to all. I would first like to point out that several policymakers, several commissions are pushing for this one nation, one election. And on the first phase, I would like to point out why they are doing so. And on the second phase, I will be debunking certain myths that has been propounded by the participants who are opposing this motion. On the first phase, I'd like to point out the political governance feature of this one nation, one election. It leads to a great expenditure of administrative resources. Between March 2024 to May 2026, there has been 15 state assemblies. We can just guess how much of state resources, time and infrastructure has been wasted through separately conducting this kind of elections. Second thing is that there will be single electoral roll if we go for simultaneous elections. This will lead to pointing out the illegal immigrants, which will lead to better management of national security. Then we have our EPIC seating with Aadhaar, which will lead to pointing out the ghost beneficiaries of our welfare scheme. Then let's talk about the migrant workers who work in a different state and they cannot participate in the voting of their native state. So when the nation goes in election mode only once, all of them can come back to their home state and participate in a more inclusive democracy. It will uphold the actual value of one vote, one value. Okay. Then let's talk about the by-elections. By-elections are conducted under the Representation of People's Act, Section 33, Subclause 7. Several committees like Goswami Committee, law commissions, all agree that this leads to unnecessary expenditure on the exchequer. So this simultaneous election will be taking these by-elections once in a year, which will lead to substantial saving to the resources of the state. Let's talk about the grassroots democracy, which was established by 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment. I'd like to say that Maharashtra Municipal Council has 27 councils vacant. There are very irregular elections occurring even in the Bihar grassroots level democracies. And the picture is quite similar in pan-India. So this new policy, which puts a timeline of 100 days for conducting the elections at the grassroots level, will ensure grassroots democracy at the same time. The economic aspects has been pointed out already, that when the MCC, that is the Model Code of Conduct, are in operation, no new developmental policies can take place. There are populism, freebies, which curbs the long-term economic measures. All these features has been pointed out by the Ramnath Kovind report. Then there is different business interest groups like CII, ASSOCHAM, all have pointed out this will lead to economic growth. I'd like to point out the social aspect quickly, that an election actually resurfaces the fault lines of our religious and caste-based, which actually hampers the national integration. So conducting elections once in a year, we will be not tampering with those fault lines. Democracy has a educative value, as said by Amartya Sen. So when the elections will be conducted, two different manifestos will be there, and all the regional parties will be trying to point out what are their different standpoints in the regional politics and the national politics, which will lead to more comparative study to the electorate, that what are they standing in different aspects. Then we talk about the security aspect, that when paramilitary forces are withdrawn from a particular area, who have developed an intelligence network down there, and they are deployed in conducting elections, that hampers their security
The
infrastructure.
time has been over.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Now I request A20 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
I would like to self count. 3, 2, 1, start. Honorable judges, respected teachers, and my dear friends, good morning. I stand before you to firmly oppose the motion that one nation, one election is the solution to India's electoral challenges. At first glance, the idea appears cost effective and administrative neat, but beneath this surface lies a dangerous proposal that threatens our federal structure, democratic responsiveness, and regional representation. Let's start with federalism. India is not a unitary state, it's a union of states, each with its own political, own social, and own cultural identity. Forcing all states to follow a synchronized election schedule erodes their autonomy. If a state government loses majority in the midterm, will we deny citizens the right to vote just to maintain the uniformity? That would be so unconstitutional and so undemocratic. Second, consider the practical challenges. Simultaneously, elections mean deploying lakhs of EVMs, lakhs of VVPATs, security personnel, and poll officers across every state and every union territory at once. Even staggered election strain the election commission. Expecting one kind nationwide election would be chaotic and logistically overwhelming. Now, let's talk about the psychology of the voter. When nationwide and state elections are held together, national issues dominate. Regional concerns fade into a background. This benefits big national parties and marginalize regional voices. Our democracy thrives on diversity, not uniformity. Supporters argue that it will cut down on cost. Yes, elections are expensive, but democracy is not about saving money. It's about ensuring accountability. Frequent election allow citizens to access their leaders regularly, not just for 5 years. That's not a flaw. That's a feature of a healthy democracy. Also, there's a hidden danger: centralized control. Centralizing election increases the influence of national parties over media, over funding, over narrativeness. That this can tilt the playing field and dilute the voice of regional parties and local issues. In conclusion, one nation, one election is not a reform, it's a risk. Democracy is complex for a reason. Our electoral challenges should be solved by deepening democracy, not simplifying it. Let us choose decentralization over domination and representation over convenience. Thank you.
क्या बोलना है? You are not audible.
I already done, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Now I request F18 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
With the count of three, I'll start. In the words of Victor Hugo, I quote, "Not even the armies who are so powerful can resist an idea whose time has come. And the idea is one nation, one election." But before going into the nuances, the basic question here is, what do we mean by this term? As per the Law Commission, it means the synchronization of the election cycles of Lok Sabha and state assemblies. Today, when I look at this subject, I come across two critical aspects. Number one, what is the requirement? Number two, what are the challenges? Answering the former through a conversation. Yes, Madam
Please
Speaker,
speak
through a
loudly.
conversation between a member of parliament and a voter of his constituency. That voter emphasized and compare the current instability of the government as well as the policy and administrative paralysis caused due to this model code of conduct with the visions of our forefathers. Yes, our forefathers, the framers, who envisioned books in the hands of children and not hunger in their eyes. Yet in global indexes we stand 101 in education, 105 in hunger. Meanwhile, Madam Speaker, we spent 1,35,000 crores for the sole purpose of Lok Sabha election. That voter posed a question, and I pose the same to the judges. Can't we redirect this money for a better use? Our taxpayers, our voters wants us to establish institutions which are not only intellectually profitable but also drives the way for innovation, social entrepreneurship, and startups. However, and I say this however in capital letters, that is the most powerful means through which we can end the corruption. And that is the crony capitalism. But what does it mean? It means less policies favoring the big tycoons of the nations who frequently fund these political parties. Now, coming to the social fabric. Despite India just celebrated Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav with the themes of inclusivity and diversity, however, this nation is rapidly polarized on the grounds of casteism, regionalism. But why? It
It is due to this constant election. As the doctor says, prevention is better than cure. And what's the prevention? This idea. Critics, yes, critics argue that the actual devil sits behind the details. They vehemently opposed with their principal argument that it is against the spirit of constitutionalism and federalism. They fear that it will lead to the centralization of power. However, my dear friends, when you look at the last three consecutive simultaneous elections, the results has rather demonstrated that we, the citizens, are familiar with the concept of split voting. We choose on the basis of our needs as well as greeds. Regardless, care needs to be taken in order to ensure that the regional issues are not overshadowed by the national concerns. And that's where I put forth my recommendation that the government must come up with policies mandating the regional debates and establishment of such forms. At last, I conclude from the Election Commission to the Law Commission, from the Standing Committee to the Niti Ayog, from the layman of this nation to the most learned person, everyone contemplates an idea. And that idea is one nation, one election. Thank you, everyone. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Now I thank you so much. Now I request A9 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Shall I start?
Yes, you can start.
28 states and 8 union territories and nearly a billion eligible voters. Polls are a constant feature of India's political landscape. India's election is a spectacle of vibrant democracy, each state having its own socio-political dynamics and regional concerns. One nation, one election is a proposal that asks to synchronize elections for Lok Sabha and all the state assemblies. Ladies and gentlemen, India is a federal democratic country having the powers being divided between the state government and the central government. Decentralization was done as the regional government have better understanding of their local constituencies and local people. This federal structure allows the regional concerns to be or regional needs to be addressed by the state level election. One nation, one election is a forced synchronization that threatens to drown out this very essence of our country. Uh, the main motive of one nation, one election, as the proposal claims, is to reduce the cost incurred in the electoral process because of the frequent election being conducted in the country. Undoubtedly, the cost cutting is an undeniable need for the nation, but one thing that shouldn't be left out in between is at what cost are we streamlining our electoral process? Are we ready to bring a democrat? Are we ready to welcome a democratic threat that threatens to sacrifice the essence of federalism? The synchronization of election has a risk of overshadowing the local issues with national narratives. It may diminish the importance of state-specific concerns. Moreover, as the motive of the proposal being the cost cutting of the expenses, first it needs to be cross-checked whether the step recommended brings us to the desired result. Ladies and gentlemen, as per a 2015 Parliamentary Committee report, India currently spends 45 billion rupees on general and state elections. But now, if all the elections are to be held simultaneously, this expense can go up to 92.84 billion rupees, backfiring the purpose of the proposal. But amidst the concern for the high expenses, one thing at which we need to pay our attention is whether the high expense the only concern or only challenge of the electoral process in India. India is the world's largest democracy, showcasing its power of ballot. But under these democratic practices lies a number of challenges that needs urgent attention. From criminalization of politics to electoral roll manipulation. In nowadays elections, these headlines are nothing new to anyone. As per as per Association for Democratic Reform Report 2024, 251 MPs, that constitutes nearly 46% MPs of Lok Sabha, have criminal charges. Among these MPs, 31% of them have serious charges such as rape, murders, and kidnapping. The recent elections of Maharashtra and Delhi raises the concern about fake voters being added to the electoral roll. These challenges undermine the purpose of democracy, but unfortunately they remain unresolved, sparking an urgent need for the electoral reform. One nation, one election only emphasizes on one aspect, and that too do not give any guaranteed result. These the other aspects or challenges that threatens the India's India's integrity of elections should be resolved as soon as possible, which cannot be done through the one nation, one election policy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now I request F19 to kindly switch on their camera.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
One nation, one election is an important step towards making our democracy even more vibrant and participate. The following quote was quoted by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Singh Modi ji. Greetings of the day, everyone. The statement, one nation and one election, is for the betterment of the country, has several reasons for its own, but the most significant are conducting simultaneous elections for the Lok Sabha, state assemblies, and the local bodies would significantly reduce the financial burden on the nation. And as we all know that currently frequent elections require massive expenditure on logistics, security, and administration. So by conducting one election for everyone would minimize disrupting governance and delaying important policy decisions due to repeated enforcement of the code of conduct, which stands for MCC disruptions, allowing policymakers to focus on long-term development and ensuring smoother, more effective governance. As we all know that multiple elections stretch administrative machinery and security forces thin, diverting them from their primary responsibilities. Holding all major elections together would make voting more convenient for citizens, reducing voter fatigue caused by the frequent trips to the polls. This could lead to higher voter participation and more representative democracy. Whereas some pointers are that reduction in political corruption can be held by the one election and one nation and one election, greater policy stability and economic growth, transparent and streamlined electoral process. Summing it up all, one nation and one election would save public money and reduce the logistical and administrative burden of the country. The model has historical precedent and considered feasible by multiple expert communities. By reducing the frequency of elections, the risk of political corruption and policy paralysis would also decrease. That's my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now I request A8 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Okay. सुप्रभात, नमस्कार। आज इस मंच के माध्यम से मैं एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव के विषय में बोलना चाहता हूं और मैं विपक्ष में बोलना चाहता हूं। प्रिय साथियों, हमारा भारत एक देश जरूर है, पर उसकी आत्मा विविधता में बसी है। यहाँ पर हर राज्य की अपनी संस्कृति है, अपनी पहचान है, अपनी समस्याएं हैं और सबसे अहम अपनी आवाज है। एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव का विचार सुनने में भले ही आपको बहुत आकर्षक लगे, लेकिन क्या आपने कभी सोचा है कि इससे हमारी विविधता पर कितना गहरा प्रभाव पड़ सकता है, कितना गहरा प्रहार हो सकता है? सोचिए, क्या बिहार के किसान की समस्याएं वही हैं जो तमिलनाडु के मछुआरों की है, या फिर क्या राजस्थान में रेगिस्तान की समस्याएं वही हैं जो असम के बाढ़ में डूबे गांव की है? नहीं ना, समस्याएं अलग अलग हैं। तो फिर एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव नहीं होना चाहिए। जब हर राज्य अलग अलग समय पर चुनाव कराता है तो उसकी आवाज केंद्र तक पहुंचती है, उसकी समस्याएं राष्ट्रीय विचार विमर्श में आती हैं। लेकिन जब सारे चुनाव एक साथ ही करा दिए जाएंगे तो इन आवाजों का कहीं ना कहीं गला घोट दिया जाएगा। एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव सिर्फ एक व्यवस्था का सवाल नहीं है, ये लोकतंत्र की आत्मा पर चोट है। ये लोकतंत्र की आत्मा पर चोट है। जब हर 5 साल के बाद ही जनता को बोलने का मौका मिलेगा तो सत्ता के अहंकार को कौन तोड़ेगा? आज भी उपचुनाव से सरकारें घबराती हैं, जनता के मूड को पढ़ती हैं। अगर बीच के चुनाव ही नहीं होंगे तो जनता का डर किसे सताएगा? सत्ता के अहंकार को कौन तोड़ेगा? ये मत भूलिए कि भारत एक भौगोलिक क्षेत्र नहीं है, भारत उन करोड़ों सपनों का नाम है जो हर गली, हर मोहल्ले, हर गांव में पलते हैं। अगर चुनाव सिर्फ एक राष्ट्रीय एजेंडे पर होंगे तो छोटी छोटी समस्याएं, छोटे छोटे सपने सब धूल में मिलकर रह जाएंगे, सबका गला घोट दिया जाएगा। अगर आज कोई सरकार हमारे गांव में सड़क नहीं बनवाती है, कोई अस्पताल नहीं बनवाती है, तो हमें मौका मिलता है कि हम उसे अगले इलेक्शन में या अगले चुनाव में उसे सबक सिखा सकें। लेकिन अगर एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव लागू हो गया तो हमें 5 साल इंतजार करना पड़ेगा। तब तक ना जाने कितने सपने टूट जाएंगे, ना जाने कितनी जिंदगियां बर्बाद हो जाएंगी। लोकतंत्र का मतलब सिर्फ वोट डालना नहीं होता। लोकतंत्र का मतलब होता है हर नागरिक की आवाज को सुनना, उसका सम्मान करना। एक राष्ट्र एक चुनाव से लोकतंत्र कमजोर होगा, बल्कि जनता की ताकत भी कम हो जाएगी। आइए मिलकर इस विचार का विरोध करें, ताकि हर राज्य की, हर नागरिक की आवाज हमेशा बुलंद रहे। भारत की आत्मा को बिखरने न दें, लोकतंत्र को कमजोर ना होने दें। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you so much. Now I request F20 to kindly switch on their camera to present their arguments.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Shall I start?
Yes, you can start.
Honorable judges, respected teachers, and my dear friends, good afternoon. It's an honor to speak in favor of the motion, One Nation, One Election is the solution to Indian electoral challenges. Let's begin with the economic angle. Conducting separate election for the Lok Sabha and state assemblies stress public debt. The 2019 general election alone cost 60,000 crore. 60,000 crore, the most expensive in our history. Now imagine repeating that every year for different state elections. If we hold simultaneous elections, the massive expenditure could be redirected to crucial sectors like health, education, and infrastructure. Next, we'll talk about governance. Every time elections are held, the model code of conduct kicks in stalling government work and policy implementation. This stop-start cycle of governance slows development. With One Nation, One Election, the MCC would apply just once every 5 years, ensuring smoother and more consistent governance. Next, politically, our leaders are constantly in campaign mode in voting time instead of focusing on long-term development. They get trapped in short-term populism. A single electoral calendar would allow our politicians to prioritize governance over campaigning, encouraging stability and accountability. Now let's consider the voters. Repeated elections create voter fatigue, especially in rural and remote areas. Simultaneous elections should simplify the process, reduce confusion, and possibly increase voter turnout. It would also help voters make more informed choices by aligning national and state issues. Moreover, this reform could reduce the misuse of money and muscle power. Multiple election means more opportunities for illegal funding and voter manipulation. By holding election all at once, we can minimize this risk and promote cleaner, fairer polls. Now we can conclude that One Nation, One Election is not just a logistical change. It is a visionary step towards economic efficiency, good governance, empowered voters, and a more united democracy. Let's support this progressive reform, a stronger and more efficient India. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Mother.
Thank you so much. Now I request the judges to kindly note down that A7 is absent. Thank you. Now I would like the President, Literary Council, to deliver vote of thanks.
As the event of day one of the debate is coming to an end, I would like to thank respected management of the university for providing forever support and encouragement to organize such activities. In this sequence, I most humbly extend our gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, respected CEO Ma'am, respected Pro VC Sir, respected Dean, Faculty of Law, for being the support system of today's event. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed judges for taking out their valuable time and for sharing their knowledge, insights, and fair judgments. I would also like to thank all the worthy participants who have joined us from different parts of the country. I would also like to thank our audience for joining us today. Last but not the least, A big thanks to all the volunteers, Paramjit Singh Hooda, Zoya Rao, Harsh Verma, Om Thakur, Isha Tyagi, and representative of IT team, Shubham sir, for all the technical support. Thank you so much. I request all the participants to kindly join us tomorrow at sharp 9:15 a.m. for the result declaration ceremony. The details will be shared with you soon on the WhatsApp group. So stay tuned. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. This is judges. Please kindly note that A7 was not able to join. He has joined us right now. So can we please, if the judges allow, can we allow A7 to join for his debate? Okay. I request A7 to wait for a while because our second judge will be joining us shortly. So wait for her to join and then you may start. A7 may start now. Please unmute yourself and start. Team code A7, you are having some technical glitch. You are not able to unmute yourself. उसको इशू आ रहा है चला गया मैम उसको आने दो Okay. So the last team code A7 is having some technical issues. I thank the judges for maintaining so much patience. This is a last call for A7. If he's not able to present his arguments, we'll have to move forward. Unfortunately, A7 will not be able to join us, and I thank the judges for their patience. With this, please join us tomorrow 9:15 a.m. sharp at 9:15. With this, thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.